Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to a Tier 8 Gauntlet guide. Some of the best champions. We've got a link in the description to the spreadsheet. This is part 2. Part 1 today, we looked at tiers 3 to tiers 7. Lots of different champions. If you watched the video and looked at the spreadsheet, you'll know there's loads of different examples. I'm trying to get a lot of these, I'm trying to get up to date. It was a very busy week last week, as you know, with stuff that needed to be covered. I need to do a gauntlet, a Paragon Gauntlet guide. I need to look at so many different things, but I'll get there. You know, it's just a case of like, I'm even like up to a point where I'm doing stuff quicker than I normally do. Normally I've wrapped up content by about a week, but it's like, it's go, go, go. It's go, go, go. Get these videos out, get them made. But I thought what we'll do is we'll look at this, a tier 8 guide. Now, to the left, you can see that my team, the team that I used for this, the first clear, was Wiccan, Human Torch, Archangel. By the way, I'm not saying that's the quintessential team. There's many options. I've seen, you've seen, we've all seen different options, and there's going to be tons more. You know, there's tons more from this community going, hey, did you know this champion's a good champion? Put it in the comment section if there's champions that you found specifically effective for this. But what we'll do is we're just going to look at each individual fight. I'll probably throw on screen some gameplay of what worked with this team, but I massively rate this team. Terex, Wiccan against Terex, chef's kiss, fantastic option. I ended up, like, through chance, just not really kind of paying attention, regenning my entire health. You're going to see it. It's pretty cool. We'll see in a second. So let's break all this down. One of the great things about tier 8 is there's no global node. Some of the previous tiers, like tier 7, tier 6, there's global nodes. But for tier 8, there's not. Fantastic. So for this particular one, there is Quicksilver starting off with True Lies, which is the true attacker's True Strike, True Accuracy, and True Sense abilities suffer minus 100% ability accuracy. So for this, I gotta be honest, didn't see any necessity to bring in champions that were that. I mean, it's telling you don't bring in those champions. But there are a ton of evade counters, because then you've got slow debuff champions, which could be very effective against this. I haven't tried them just yet, but there are some kind of like really keen and decent options. I mean, one of those for that particular, you know, interaction is Shang-Chi. Sorry, I gotta get my words out there. Shang-Chi, Nick Fury. You could do Hercules just to kind of like start building him up, and Hercules throughout. You know, I didn't really want to, and I try not to make guides where I just say, just use Hercules, because it's just not fair to everybody. So slow debuff champions, you know, Archangel was my particular favourite. I've seen people use Kingpin. So look, I think a lot of different champions and variation can be used. So yeah, again, that's just, again, down to whatever you fancy with that. But I'd say slow debuffs in order to like deal with that champion might be, you know, effective. Look to She-Hulk. Science champions that have it. Science champions that then can be used further down the line for Mojo. So that's something that I should really mention with this, but yeah, need to do that. Storm Pyramid X, high energy diet. In a nutshell, high energy resistance. Champions that have Incinerate, Shock, or Cold Snap will help the champion build power. So you're basically using energy champions, or the ones I've mentioned. You are quite literally powering up the champion. So do you want to power up Storm Pyramid X? Probably not. So maybe like more kind of like physical based champions for that. I have seen people use tech champions, so that's something as well. You may want to use a tech champion. I'm just saying be cautious with that, unless you can you know, power control. Like, we could even go, right, well, I suppose we could just go, right, well, if we put in, you know, infamous Iron Man into that one, he does power control, so that can help. The same thing when it comes to Nimrod as well. We could put Nimrod into it, you know, as a potential option. It is just going to be down to how much, because I haven't experimented around. I don't tend to like doing that just in case, you know, it kills an option. But maybe we should be a bit bold and a bit brave and go, yes, this could work. So just be cautious when it comes to those tech champions. I mean, could go down the route of Ultron, maybe. So that could be another option there. So tech champions, yes, but do be cautious about that when it comes to those. And I also like to keep Storm Pyramid X to an SB1. But again, it's down to a personal preference with that one. So the next champion, which is good that it doesn't have any kind of like extra node with it, because like, it's a bit of a pain. It can be a bit of a pain in the butt, especially if you're looking for a specific type of counter, is Terex. Now, Terex does have quite a few counters, stuff that will be more than what I've put down. You know, I can put down 6 different options for Terex. I'm sure that people will put 6 more, 12 more, 32 more for this particular one. To be honest, I think there's only a slim amount of options for this one. So the champions that I would recommend, some that I've seen that have worked effectively, some I recommend, other people recommend, is and as I say, I'll show footage in a second of this, which is Wiccan. Wiccan is my favourite champion for Terex, and it was just a happy coincidence that I was like, do you know what, I'll just bring Wiccan in. I'll bring Wiccan in to cover the end champion, Unstoppable Colossus, and also Terex, so 2 options there. So 1 champion for 2 options, because there's 5 different champions you're facing off against. So it's all about kind of like trying to cover bases, and that's something as well I should point out. Covering bases with champions. Try to cover as many bases with one specific champion. You might be like, well, I don't have that champion, Rich. And that's fair. That's fair. So I try my best. Maybe we can expand on this. Maybe you can put in the comment section other options and I can add it to the spreadsheet in time. You know, we'll have to see. Maybe there's going to be a version 2 by a week's time. We could do that. So so put it in the comment section who you've been using against, you know, these tier 8 gauntlet options. Now, get to the point, Richard. I will. So, options-wise, Wiccan, as I said, my favourite. Magic, if you bring in your 5-star Ascended. If you're using them all, reflect the damage back. Could be an interesting option. Hercules for the build and continuing on towards the end. Tiger I've seen, and Absorbing Man as well, which is incredibly effective against that particular champion. It's super effective, of course it is. So those are my recommendations. Moving on now to Mojo. Mojo's a bit of a difficult one because there's always options to take down Mojo. It's just a case of like the prompts, counters when it comes to dealing with the degen side of things, depending on how aggressive you play. The champion does have heavy hands. If the defender is struck by a heavy attack, a timer starts for 12 seconds. If the attacker charges another heavy attack, they're fall to passive. So it depends how you want to play with this. Do you want to be aggressive? Do you want to do a heavy attack? Do you not want to do a heavy attack? Down to you. Human Torch does work, and as well doing the heavy attack, so you're not under that kind of level of pressure, so to speak. But you could do so many things. If you've still got phase 1 of Nick Fury, you may want to use Nick Fury. If you want to deal with that degen based damage that you might receive from that, you may want to go Mr. Negative. Do you want to use a champion champions that are very effective, like Cassie Lang? Do you as well want to set yourself up for this the same way with the tracking debuff with the likes of Omega Sentinel and playing somewhat aggressively? Scorpion as well, incredibly effective. Archangel to mop up maybe, but do bear in mind you are throwing heavy attacks, so it becomes difficult and you have to play around a different way. So Archangel's a bit of an iffy sale on that one, but I'll put it nevertheless because it can be used to help out. Because the thing is, as soon as you've used, you're like, okay, well, I've got full health Archangel because he's blitzed through a lot of these particular champions. Well, I can't use him against Unstoppable Juggernaut, Unstoppable Colossus, because, well, he's bleed immune. So makes sense to go, oh, we'll just kill him off as a, not as a precaution, but help out if some of your champions fail. So say, you know, Nick Fury, Scorpion, and Mega Sentinel, they get 90% of the health done, and he's on 10% health. It's like, okay, we'll just use Archangels to mop up the rest of the damage. That's kind of the point I'm kind of coming to with that one. Then your final fight is against Unstoppable Colossus. We'll be honest, don't think this is too much of a threat and an issue, and any champion will do. It's up to you as well if you want to deal with and suppress that Unstoppable, because let's face it, when the champion goes Unstoppable, you can't do anything. And the champion's got Bane, so you want to feel like you're being as aggressive as possible for this one. And also, whenever the defender is inflicted with a non-damaging debuff, they gain an unblockable passive. So again, it's up to you whether or not you want to be more intercepty. And if you've got a champion that has neutralize, has a nullification of some description, then you can look to kind of like, you know, throw that on to stop the Unstoppable, to therefore be aggressive as possible, to therefore not have to parry in order to put a non-damaging debuff. So non-damaging debuff champions, as part of their kit, maybe a bit more effective, because you don't want that that unblockable, because look, that's going to be a bit annoying, and you will have to intercept regardless. So watch out for that. Also, heavy attacks. I don't know if it's those particular centric champions are going to be massively effective. For me, I just used Wiccan and found that was acceptable, and it worked. So if it's stupid and it works, or you play stupid and it works, it ain't stupid. Try and have fun as much as possible with it. Bubble shield is something to be slightly concerned about, but you can rough that out for the very early part of the fight, especially as you're trying to find your footing with trying to get off the board. Any champ, as I said, works, and as I put down, any champion works, but, you know, Black Widow Clairvoyant, Nullifiers, take away the unstoppable early doors, could be an option for you for that one. It's just Bane, keep your aggression up, and when that kind of rotation happens, then you're throwing that degen over, time special attacks around that, so that you're, you're throwing the Bane over. Possibly, Doctor Doom could be quite good for this one, but you've got to watch out for kind of the heavy attacks, because again, Doctor Doom is a champion that will throw heavy attacks as part of like suppression of with stagger, throwing stagger, suppression of unstoppable. So therefore, you're putting a non-damaging debuff at times on. Actually, no, it may be passive effect without stagger. Doctor Doom might be a good option. Any case, that has been it for the video. I hope you're doing well. And maybe a version 2 of this coming at a later date. But who are you using? Put it in the comment section down below. Cheers, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.